Welcome to another episode of Dad's Rules with Kevin Belzer. And today we are joined for another part of Michael, Mr. Sunshine Janzen, because you know we can never get enough of Mr. Sunshine.
Can't get enough sunshine, right?
That's right. You do need vitamin D.
I bring the D.
Yeah.
The vitamin D.
TMI. So we ended the part one as I open up a Bang energy drink because I'm ready for the next round.
I almost stole that out of the refrigerator. I was like, no, I'm not going to do that to somebody.
Oh, I packed multiples of these.
Oh, that's not the one that was in the fridge. Okay.
Yep. They got a lot of flavors. This is probably one of my favorites, black cherry vanilla.
Are you sponsored by them? Or should you be going like this? Bang energy drinks.
You know, the dirty little secret is, since you brought it up, the dirty little secret is that I'm working on being sponsored by them. So I'm being aggressive, trying to get attention.
I know that. Really.
Yeah.
That's good.
So
that's smart.
I'm definitely trying to do that. I figured that they're not coming to me, I'll come to them.
Hey, if anybody deserves a Bang energy drink sponsorship, I think it's you.
You would think so. I've advertised it for free for I don't know how many episodes now.
Right? And it's called Bang.
Bang.
Bang. Bang.
Yeah, it reminds me of that song by Danger, Bang Bang.
All right. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, that's a pretty good reference. I mean, that's one that not most people are very familiar with that song.
No, there is an old episode where Melissa and I were singing the song in the podcast.
Really?
Yes, because she
bang,
knows
what's that sound. Yeah. Okay. Wow.
Yep. I gave you my love, but you shot me down.
Yeah.
Yep.
Wow. If this gets picked up by BMI, they will get a 12-cent royalty for this reference. So I can't remember his name now, the lead singer. I used to know him. But you're welcome. You're welcome. Try not to spend it all in one place.
You mean the lead singer of Danger?
Yeah.
That's Ted Poley. I know him.
There you go.
He's a nice guy. Yep. He actually does a lot of fundraising. We talked about how we ended the last episode, how you were talking about how you helped a former employee of yours. Mm-hmm. Well, anyway, Ted Poley, one of the things he does is out of merch sale is he gives a certain percentage of that towards an animal foundation.
Oh, nice.
Yep. So he's been doing that for years. I know he's going to be retiring here from touring pretty soon. He had a hard date that he was going to retire by, but I know that COVID threw a wrinkle in a lot of artists.
And they get away from the stage for a while. It's hard. It's very hard to step away.
It's a drug.
It is.
You know what? Every time I'm invited on somebody's stage to talk, and it doesn't matter if it's 30 seconds or 5 minutes or whatever, 30 minutes.
Yeah.
It is an adrenaline rush, a dopamine hit that you can't get from any drug out there.
At
least that's my theory because I don't do drugs.
No, but you're right.
I'm assuming that it's
You're
better.
absolutely right. I was just speaking with Nick about this yesterday. Adam, one of my generals, as I refer to them as one. Adam said, "Look, man, going forward, your job needs to be where you're in front of a camera, behind a microphone, on a stage, or in a power meeting or a meeting with a power partner to be able to exchange."
I 1,000% agree with him that you should be doing your own podcast show. You should be guesting on any podcast you can because you get my audience. You get, I remember you being on Sexy Business Status podcast. You're on a couple of those, which, by the way, banger content.
Thanks.
On those. A lot of knowledge and just a lot of fun.
Yeah. I mean, Jason's fun, and he's so animated, and it's hard not to be drawn into that and get caught up and
you do
emulate. Yeah,
you want to go fight after his podcast. You're like, I'm gonna throw down.
That's one of the things I love about him, though. Is he pulls no punches.
Yeah,
he calls it like he sees it, and that's again one of the things that spoke to me because I'm probably. Not probably. I am the most outspoken person in the entire solar industry in this country. I don't think there's anyone that even comes close to being as just direct and blunt about things as I am.
Yeah.
And so seeing that, I've been to other events and seminars in the past, and it's like, okay, I always see things as kind of contrived, scripted, and played out. And these guys come up and they're speaking the truth, and you could tell it was real. So. Just following along with that, again, it's, I found my people. So
Yeah. And you talked about how it's changed you as a person
it has
as well. So you were telling a story. It reminded me of a story of my own back in the day where my aunt had loaned me money. I was at basic training and I still had bills at home.
What basic training for?
Army National Guard. You go to Army basic training.
Thank you for your service.
Yeah. Yeah. Thanks. I didn't get to do anything. I didn't get to like go anywhere.
You signed on the dotted line.
I know.
Man.
It's just,
that's, to me, that's a big deal. And it's a bigger deal probably to me than it is to you. But, it's, that's a big deal.
Yeah. There was some fun aspects of it. There were some things that I wish if I'd stayed in longer and known what my unit was going to turn into, I would have stayed in. They went from straight leg infantry, which is 11 Bravo. They went from that to realizing when, the first Gulf War kicked off. Desert Shield then turned into Desert Storm. When that kicked off, they realized very quickly that we were not the right kind of unit to send to a desert. We were designed for fighting in forest in Europe.
Oh.
Okay. So we were 2 days from getting deployed. And if you remember the first war, it was won in like a couple days.
Yeah. Just shock and awe.
It was months and months and months of shock and awe. And then as they were driving across the Kuwaiti border into Iraq, they were just waving white flags.
Yeah.
The opposition was waving white flags. They just gave up.
I remember that.
Okay, so we were supposed to go. We were 2 days from being deployed, yet the war was already won. So they canceled our deployment. And out of that, they also realized that, wait a second, these guys are 11 Bravo. They're not designed for desert. So we need to change their MOS. So what they did, nothing in the military moves fast. By the time I was out, they finally decided to change us to air assault. So you repelled out of helicopters.
Oh, jeez.
If I'd known this, I would have stayed in because I love repelling. Like we could go to training up in it was a camp up in Wisconsin, Fort McCoy. Yeah, Fort McCoy. We go up there, and one of the things you could rappel off a building. And I remember they could barely get me strapped
rappelling is another term for falling with a rope in your hands.
Yeah, it's fun.
Okay.
So they would strap me in. They barely had me strapped in, and I would just jump over the building and just climb down the building. It's a lot of fun. It's an adrenaline rush.
See that.
But you also know that when you're, say, under 25, you're not going to die. I didn't know if you knew this or not, but you're not going to die. At least that's what you've told yourself, is that there's no way you can die. Everybody else dies.
I don't even think it's anything that you tell yourself. It's just, you just don't even think about it at all. You just go. Looks like fun. Woo!
Yeah.
I'm in. Yeah.
Yeah. No, but anyway, it was a blast. The training stuff was a blast. But all happened after me, so I never got to enjoy that. We never got deployed anywhere, so I don't know.
See, I was waiting to hear the Tropic Thunder story or something, I don't know if you've seen that movie. It's just hilarious. And, jungle and forest fighting.
No, we didn't have any of that. We had training missions and stuff where we go up against other units. I died in every single training mission. Every single one. So I told my wife, I go, if I go, I feel like I'm just going to die.
No. You've done that and got out of the way.
I know.
You've learned what not to do by getting killed over and over and over again. So when shit gets
understand,
real.
that was the logic of my 19-year-old self.
Yeah.
As I got older, I realized, I understand now all the ways not to die. I was killed by friendly fire. I was killed by opposition. I had some epic deaths. I mean, some really epic deaths. Like I had one to where I was running for the creek, and as I was diving into the air to jump into the water, I was shot in the back. So that was kind of cool on that one, because I was
right?
Yeah, it was totally movie scene. I mean, I was out of ammo. They had ammo. They were too far away for me to close the distance to do hand-to-hand in the training mission. So I was like, well, I'm just going to try to run away, because I just think that that's just a good idea sometimes, is that your best answer is just to run away. They had gun, I had no gun. So simple logic said go the other direction. So anyway,
Wow.
yeah. So I had we had some fun ones and whatnot. But I now am digressing because I want to get back.
Oh, that's
to,
right. Yes, we were talking about your aunt or borrowing.
Yes.
Borrowing money.
So anyway, she loaned me money because I'm at basic. You're not getting paid for a while. I still had a car payment and rent to make back home. So she loaned me the money. A few months later, when I get home, I meet up with her at some family event, and I go to hand her. It was $400. Go to hand her the $400. She's looking at me all weird, and I'm like, "What?" And she's like, "What's this?" And I'm like, "Well, I'm paying you back." And she goes, "Nobody's ever paid me back before."
Right?
And I go, "Well, I borrowed it. Why wouldn't I pay it back?" And she goes, "Look, never lose a friendship or a family member over money."
That's right.
The woman was a brilliant businesswoman, brilliant person in general. My Aunt Ethel was just phenomenal. But it's funny, it took me a long term to understand that simple little lesson. And now I totally get it. Because
Isn't that funny? It sounds, when you hear certain things or you learn,
I wasn't ready to hear it.
yeah, you learn certain lessons. It's like, it sounds great. Okay, it makes sense. But you truly don't take it in or get it until later sometimes.
Yeah,
And
because
that's-
around that time, I burned a friendship over money.
Yeah.
And we never made up. And I never reached out again. He never reached out again. Never made up on it before he passed away young. And it's one of those regrets that I carry is that really I lost all these years of a friendship over, I can't even remember the amount, but obviously it was not significant.
Sure.
And now it's like I look at it and go, there was a few years ago, probably like 9 years ago, where I loaned somebody money and I flat out forgot. They needed it and I had it. I loaned it to them. And I got a mystery check in the mail about a year and a half ago from them. And Grant, I loaned this money a long time ago. And obviously it was on his mind the whole time that he never had, and finally had it, and he repaid me back. And he had a note in there, here's half of it, I'll give you the next half the next month. And I'm like, I went to his brother because I'm friends with the brother, and I'm like, why did he send me this check? You know, I'm like, I don't even know what this is for. He goes, don't you remember you loaned him money back then? And I'm like, oh, I never thought he'd pay me back. I just had it.
Right.
And then I told my wife, I remembered after that, I told her at the time, I said, look, we have it. He needs it. We'll just give it to him. Don't ever expect to get it back. Because I remember what my aunt said. But when it was just hilarious when I got the check, and I'm like, what the F is this for?
That's cool. Well, I got to tell you another twist about that story. So loaning him that money, I did the same thing. I said, look, you owe me nothing, man.
Yep.
It'll come back to me in its own way. And I posted this on Facebook.
Yep, I saw your post.
Okay. So you'll notice there's a certain person in there that had commented on it, and I'm not going to mention their name.
I didn't see the comments.
So it was just a way to go comment.
Oh, okay.
4 hours later, I got a call from this prospect that I had basically forgotten about.
Okay.
And they said that they're ready to go. I'm like, cool, awesome, man. I pretty much have written you guys off. It's just, you went out in a different direction and said, no, we just got, distracted with stuff and everything. And, we're ready. You're our guy. So let's, what do we got to do to get this started? Now, this is a $66,000 project. It's a pretty good sized project.
Yeah.
It's, over 16 kilowatt system. And
What size house would that be?
Well,
I know it can vary.
Yeah, the size of the house doesn't really have any impact on it.
Does that have to do with the sun?
Because it has to do with how many kilowatt hours they're using. So I can have a little tiny house
totally
with a
understand.
huge bill and a great big house with a small bill.
Yep.
So, but this person, they signed up and got through everything, qualified, and boom, right? Well, that evening, I'm looking online and I go through and there's my post and I see there's comments and I look at it.
Mm-hmm.
She was one of the people that commented.
Oh,
She saw that I had done that.
yeah.
And it reminded her that, they're looking in solar and stuff, and remembered me, and called up and signed up. So that hundreds of dollars that I gave them, or gave to him, it came back to me.
Hey, character matters.
In the form of a $66,000 project.
Yeah.
That I got to believe that's what she didn't say a word about. I always saw your post or anything like that, right?
They don't always, and sometimes they won't until well after the fact. Because I've had people that have followed me for a long time on social, and I'll be knee deep into the deal. I have one right now going like that, to where the guy goes, "Hey, I really like your TikTok videos," and I'm like, I had no clue, because I don't go in and see like who's following or any of that. So I
busy, kind of busy.
I legitimately, I post and I walk away. So I had no clue. I mean, if I get notifications that people have commented, I'll comment back and stuff like that. But I didn't know he was a silent observer of what I'm doing in my life. You never know who's watching.
Right. Yeah. And so it was just, for me, again, reaffirming lessons that I've learned in the recent years of even what you just spoke about. That's something that's been brought up a number of times in our coaching calls and stuff like that about, putting content out there, and you just never know who's watching, and all of a sudden something happens.
Yeah.
And also, just try to be a good human being. Do something nice for somebody if you can. If it's financial, whatever, and if you can afford to do it, right? It finds its way back to you, even just in the feel good of doing it. And that was enough for me. It wasn't like it was thousands of dollars that was going to put me in a bind. But to get what I consider rewarded for that, just because just the whole circle of the way things work in the world or the universe, just kind of blew me away.
It's funny. It's like you did that. You documented what happened, and somebody else saw it. Somebody reached out to do business with you. We'll have this discussion to the end of time with people that, look, if you just document your life, document what's going on, the good, the bad, the ugly, don't be a whiner.
Right.
But document your life, share it with people. You're going to be, whatever industry you're in, people are going to, when they're seeing your content, going to go, oh, he's in solar, or me, he's a realtor,
right.
Or he has a podcast, I wonder if I can be on the podcast or whatever. But if you're continually putting that content out, people are going to notice you and they're going to want to do business with you. You also put a human face to yourself as well by posting a very naked moment, to be honest. To a very raw moment of what was going on in the world of, hey, here's somebody struggling, but I had the ability to help them out. And it's not braggadocious. I don't think it's braggadocious.
I really didn't want it to come across that way. And
I know you were walking a line, because when I read it, I read the post a couple times, and when I read it, I was like, it's a tough one to talk out without sounding braggadocious.
Right. Yeah. I put it in there that, I'm not trying to brag. And this is because you see some of these posts that are like that, that tell this story, and it's at the very end, then it says, please like and share, right? It's somebody else's story that it's just being perpetuated over and over again to try and create a feel good for some reason. And I didn't want it to be read that way either. So that's why I kind of commented in the beginning, this is not one of those, type of videos. But
why can't it be a reminder to people of saying, look, I had the ability to help someone out. I did help someone out. Maybe you have the ability to help someone out, and you need to go help someone out. Why can't it come across? Because that's how I read it.
And that, thank you, because that was the intent of the message.
Yeah.
And in fact, when I originally posted, I didn't mention that I'd given him money.
Okay.
And a few people had messaged me saying, I'm assuming you helped him or something. I'm like, oh, okay, I guess I'll go.
No, I left him standing in the Fry's
good
parking
luck, man.
lot.
Yeah, good luck.
Yeah. And sometimes it's not a lot. It's like there's a podcaster I listened to that had a GoFundMe when he got canned over a post he made during COVID. And he said he got thousands of people that donated, hundreds to thousands of people that donated to his GoFundMe. And he goes, the average person was $5, $10. It was like every little bit added up. He goes, next thing you know, he goes, I had enough for a lawyer, you know, to fight this wrongful firing and everything. It's like, no, you don't have to give a lot. Every little bit can help someone. So.
I just, you know, I think that if we can just all start to remind each other, do something nice for somebody. And again, something just the simplest thing, holding a door open, stopping. Somebody's coming in, you know, I always appreciate it when somebody does that. They hold, they're coming out and they reach back and hold the door, right? I love that.
I always say thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. And
you may have made somebody's day by saying thank you.
Just by acknowledging that they did.
Hey, thank you for being a human.
Because it sucks when they don't. You know, or when somebody does it, you do it for somebody and they just walk in and they can't just utter a single syllable word out of their mouth. Thanks.
Yeah. It does seem kind of weird, doesn't it? Where like, are they no eye contact, no nothing? Like,
I just think I used to let it bug me a little bit.
Yeah.
Like I'd want to say something like "You're welcome," but I've come to realize
I used to be that guy too.
They're probably just distracted with a different thought.
Look, none of us are perfect, and we all have bad days.
Yeah.
So. Yeah, it's not like I still don't have those moments. But for the most part, I let a lot of things go anymore. The big thing for me used to be the people driving like crazy through traffic. And there was a podcast I heard where the guy said, you don't know what's going on in the other car. Maybe that person is rushing to get to the hospital. Maybe that person has somebody in the passenger seat that needs to get to the hospital.
Right.
You don't know what's going on in that. You aren't inside their head. You don't know. Maybe they're just having a bad day. And honestly, 99% of the time, they're a great human being. So what gives you the right to go judge them and get all pissed off and ruin your day over what? Because a lot of things, they're never going to remember. They're never going to even know that you're in your car mad at them.
Right.
As much as you scream at them.
When somebody cuts you off, right? We like to blow the horn and give the finger, whatever. And then I realized, because I've done it and I didn't mean to. They probably didn't mean to cut me off, right? And so just let it go. We didn't collide.
Well, I give this example. My wife and her two sisters were all racing to the hospital because their dad was at the last moments of his life. Yeah. My wife made it. Her other two sisters who were driving like maniacs through traffic did not make it. So it's like, okay, well, that's a real world example of a situation where they were the assholes on the road,
right? But
assholes with a meaningful purpose of what they were trying to get to. And it's like, yeah, one of the three sisters made it there in time. The other two didn't. And you go, well, maybe you need to give a little grace.
Yeah.
Maybe we owe each other a little bit more kindness. That was the whole reason I wrote my book in the first place, is that, hey, how can you be a better person? How can you be a kick-ass adult?
How do I get one of those, by the way?
I will give you one before you walk out.
Yeah?
Yep.
All right.
Yep.
Cool. Thank you.
I'm revamping that one, but you'll get an original.
Cool.
Yeah, because the revamped one will come out later this year.
You gotta sign it for me and everything too.
I will give you my John Hancock if you want it. I'll actually sign it with my name and not John Hancock.
Oh, there you go. Well. That would be better.
Yeah, it probably would be. It's like if I signed it John Hancock, it'd be like, okay, this is kind of stupid.
Gosh, all I got is my little guide here, but
oh no, you have another book coming on the way.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're going to end part 2, and in part 3, we're getting serious. We're going to dive all into solar.
You're going to ask me some.
I am going to hit you hardcore, and it does not matter how many parts it takes us to get through it. But we're going to get into this because I know this is going to help a lot of people out.
Now I'll tell you, with all the questions that are in here, I think I'll do pretty good. Because I wrote them.
I would hope so. I'd hope so. It's like when people bring up stuff in that book, I better know what's in there.
Right.
It's like, it's like if you spend the time writing all that, and I know.
This is not a product of ChatGPT. This is not a product of ChatGPT. This is from the brain cells between my ears. So.
Well, I've tried this with real estate where you put something in there and I have to correct it because it's like, that's a fair housing violation. That's a fair housing violation.
Oh, that's right. Because you guys are held to some like crazy standards for what you can say, put in print,
Yep.
message somebody. Wow.
It's crazy. So it's like I see all these courses on ChatGPT for real estate. And I'll be like, you still got to be cautious. It's like, yeah, if you want to see what it will barf out to you, that's great. Because it can write a heck of a listing description, but it can also have a lot of fair housing violations inside that thing. So you better be reading it before you're posting it.
Wow, yeah, because see, the solar industry, totally
But you guys are
unregulated.
the Wild West.
Yeah, it's still, and it's unfortunate, really, because it needs it now. We are at a point where it's not like, it'd be a good idea, right? Everybody in the industry is like, no, we don't need it. The hell we don't.
Yeah.
We absolutely do. I had to write this guide.
You did.
Because of it, because there's just so much egregious nonsense that's getting spewed out that it's unregulated. You can say whatever you want. You can make any promise you want. And
You've definitely teased everybody for the next episode. And we're going to dive right into that. And we're going to have you explain why you wrote it. And then we're going to dive into the questions.
Cool.
All right?
Yep.
All right. So if you like the show, please like, share, comment, review, leave feedback. It all helps the show grow. Also, hit the swag shop up, dadsruleswag.com. Get cool shirts like this one that says kick ass on it. Until next time, go out and be the kick ass adult I know you all could be.